Dracula is not the villain. He, like all others in the Castlevania universe, is an unfortunate victim of fate. A fate that allowed him to be the apex being, but in doing so made him stand alone into legend. Until one day the legend gained new perspective that turned into purpose. Losing Lisa shattered the stability of the known world, a stability that could have maintained if Dracula found new purpose in their son. But as Ralph Emerson said, once you make a decision, the universe conspires to make it happen. Human nature is cruel. It took his wife and it took his sanity, but fate maintained its course in keeping him forever alone. Alucard is a man born blessed with favorable outcomes, yet torn with internal conflict. Being born of two worlds that are in constant friction, his mother Lisa of the human world and Vlad Dracula Tepesh of the vampires. Conditioned to take his mother's way of selflessness in service to man, while instinctually taking on the luck of his father, constantly fighting himself in the middle of turmoil then left to be alone after. Creating a sense of polarity, being pulled in many directions during his endeavors without focus and seeking outside validation. Adrian Tepesh tried to discard his nature by becoming Alucard for the sake of others, while Alucard found himself sympathizing with his origins and the essence of Dracula. But once he found a counterbalance in genuine friendship, community, and budding love, it gave way to self-acceptance, leading Adrian Tepesh and Alucard understanding they are two wings on the same bird, soaring higher into a new plane of existence. The life of Saint Germaine is a lesson for those who seek infinite knowledge, but do not understand in hindsight the ramifications of gaining too much they cannot handle. Once a humble seeker and practitioner of the alchemic sciences, to transform, combine, and create with truth, ironically, it was the chaotic nature of love that threw him down the rabbit hole, sinking deeper and deeper into the abyss of acquiring infinite wisdom, which proved the old saying that knowledge is power, and simultaneously proving that absolute power corrupts. Sypha Belnades, the optimist, the light in the shadow, and the speaker of hope, veering off the path of her foundation and persevering through trials and tribulations that opened her eyes to truths that her bubble could not protect her from. Her journey is one of who believes they have acquired all the answers, but throughout life, one must learn that answers come in variations, more than just word of mouth. Leaving her comfort zone, allow her to grow immensely in mind by understanding the need to document, in body, by traveling and given the opportunity to put her scholarly studies to practice, finally in spirit, establishing new relationships aside from her family and building a better community to safeguard the future. Trevor Belmont, the last son of the family of famed hunters of the night, and yet another instrument of fate, destined to be molded and shaped by the cruel realities of the world. The more he struggled against the path, the more fate pulled him in the direction of his destiny. Although once thought to be the last of a dying breed, while buried in the ashes of his predecessors, he channeled his inner warrior and pride, rising like a phoenix in the eternal fire, personifying the words of the legendary Bruce Lee. Absorbing what is useful by using all the accumulated training and knowledge passed down to him from generations prior, discarding what is useless and letting go of his spite to stop running away from the past and face forward in his family name. Lastly, adding what is specifically his own by making invaluable friendships in Sypha and Alucard to enact justice, falling in love, and lighting a new path for the Belmont legacy. Carmilla is an interesting villain. I choose to label her as a villain over antagonist because there seem to be no redeeming qualities about her. Yet, I won't deny that she is an end result of sexism and the abuse of power in the Castlevania universe, creating a monster that sees herself and her demographic as a potential oppressed group in contrast to the opposite gender of her species, being overwhelmed with hatred making her operate in extremes, while overshadowing the privilege and advantages gained from being a member of the vampire race, leading to her ambitions guiding her towards an inevitable fate at the hands of a man hailing from a species she deemed to be weaker. Isaac's development is the epitome of human evolution. At the core of his being are the attributes of love and loyalty. From the time he was orphaned and mistreated as a child, he tried to escape showing love due to no reciprocation. In his teenage phase, he found a pillar in Dracula, a steady flow of reciprocation for his loyalty through a purpose for which someone he loved needed him for. In his young adult phase, he was thrusted into the world alone to test himself and his ideals. The Collector showed him human kindness. The Captain gave him constructive criticism. The talking night creature opened the avenue to self-acceptance, and Miranda showed him the path to enact justice through right of conquest, all culminating to him becoming the man, the conqueror, and the leader who chose living and to encourage others to do the same. Isaac is what it means to be human. Hector's story is a reflection on those of us who live based upon past trauma and negative experiences. Similar to most of the main characters, childhood experiences have shaped their lived adult responses by how they perceive and interact with society. In his case, growing up without adult guidance due to being shunned by adults embedded in a childish perspective that became outdated once his vessel evolved. How ironic for a man of high awareness becoming blind to the static laws of nature. Prolonging accountability forced him through similar trials that helped ingrain cause and effect based upon his decisions. While many may have the same end goal, the path to it is never linear, and Hector is the personification of one in many.